On Friday the 20th of May, I was lucky enough to attend the public premiere of Prehistoric Planet at the BFI IMAX cinema in London. So here is a quick, spoiler-free review. It's amazing. It's just so damn good. There were two moments in the first episode where I was on the verge of tearing up. The first was basically the first shot of CGI dinosaurs, which is where the two tyrannosaurs touch snouts. Just seeing that on the big screen in an auditorium full of people really brought home the fact that this is an up-to-date depiction of dinosaurs that everyone can see, and that this really might change people's perceptions on what these animals were like. The second moment was in the pterosaur segment of the Coasts episode, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but let's say the trailers only scratched the surface of which species appear, and there's one in particular that was just awesome to see. Think the moment from the beginning of Giant of the Skies, but more sinister. It's such a silly thing to get emotional about, but that was the point where I realised that this documentary was going for the real deep cuts. When you compare it to something like Planet Dinosaur, which picked all the obvious choices, it's just amazing to see animals you'd never expect in a big budget documentary. A lot of people are calling this the spiritual successor to Walking with Dinosaurs, but I think they're actually really hard to compare. While Walking With would focus on one ecosystem per episode, Prehistoric Planet is more like Planet Earth, jumping from one place to another, although always within the Maastrichtian era. In addition, there are so many more species than Walking with Dinosaurs. CGI was expensive stuff in '99, so it was used more sparingly, and many models were recycled. Compare that to Prehistoric Planet with 95 species across 5 episodes, many of which are never named explicitly and simply serve to fill in the background. For instance, there's a helicopter shot over water where an almost imperceptible Hesperornithian dives underneath the surface. It's blink and you'll miss it, but it's moments like this which really serve to create a far more real world than anything we've seen before. The CGI is of course phenomenal, but what really blew my mind was the integration of real live footage with CGI. Most of the environments in the show are real places, and many of the background animals, particularly in aquatic sequences, are real too, which makes it all the more hard to tell which is which. What's more, there are moments where the very real animals interact with the CGI ones, and again this works to convince you that you aren't just seeing a special effect, but a real window into the past. I could go on and on about everything else, including the soundtrack by Hans Zimmer and of course David Attenborough's narration, but I want to keep this review short. So make sure to check out Prehistoric Planet, airing each weekday on Apple TV Plus from Monday the 23rd of May. Get a 7-day free trial. It's really easy and it will cost you nothing. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. And finally, here's a clip from the premiere where I was lucky enough to ask a question on behalf of all the grown-ups in the audience.
And finally, if we could have to speak for all of the adults in the audience to prove that we are all essentially dinosaur fanatics until we die, could we please?
So as the ambassador for all the adults in the audience, I think I speak for, no pressure, right? I think I speak for everyone by saying you've just done the most amazing, incredible job. This reconstruction, so incredible. The thing I couldn't get my head around was there's real animals there. There's real shrimps and fish and lizards and termites. How does a shrimp take a bit of scale off of Mosasaurus? Like,
well, if we told you, we'd have to keep it.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say you're going to have to just watch it over and over again, work out what's real and what's not.
There is a making of real somewhere, isn't there? At some point,
Well,
I think it comes afterwards.
yeah.
But we've signed bits of paper that said if we said anything about it, someone would come after us. I think Steve Jobs would rise. No, let's not get into that.
The answer is to just forget all that. When the first frame starts, imagine and just let yourself be in that world. That's what we wanted to do for you. We wanted you to feel like we had transported you there.
So try not to think of any of that, just enjoy it as another planet Earth that just set 66 million years ago.